I've seen a situation in a pantry, four people talking, gossiping about one of the bosses.
Yes.
Okay. And then this other person walks in, gets a coffee, and then one of them cracks a stupid joke about that boss. Everyone laughs and she also laughs. And then suddenly, next day, the person gets called into that boss's house. Why you don't like me?
Oh, no.
Yeah, because it was just like a trap. Actually, no, I was just getting my coffee. They made a stupid joke. They laughed. I just laughed along with
I
it.
think this person just walked into this Venus flytrap and just stepped on some sticky substance.
Yeah, it's like just got sucked in. It's like. Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to another fun episode of Career Success with Adrian and Yen. My name is Adrian, and I'm the CEO and founder of Career Agility International, and of course, Yen's our executive director and super coach.
Thanks for that. I've never used that term.
I have. So anyway, today we're going to talk about something really, really interesting. Okay.
Yes, we've had a spate of people who are feeling the stress of an environment, an office environment that's not exactly healthy.
Yes. And that's why we can talk about what happens when you are living in a workplace hell. Okay, not so bad. I'm just making it drama.
You make it sound like
it's clickbaity. That's all. It's
like
clickbaity.
if you walk in, immediately there's toxic fumes wafting out in green plumes.
And Satan greets you and go, welcome home. But okay, question. Have you ever had the experience where you just had enough of the office and you want to hiding out in the toilet just to get out?
Well, it's not that dramatic, but yes, there was a time in my youth when I worked for an environment that was unhealthy, but my team was all right. So it was a little oasis of calm. But then outside of these three individuals, everything was fraught with undercurrents. And maybe I'm sensitive to undercurrents, and some of us are. We you know what I mean.
I'm oblivious.
Like
I'm just a good boy.
we see the glances, or we see the body language, and you feel that at any time, like an Indiana Jones movie, there's going to be some barbed wire that pops out, or some arrows that shoot, and you won't see it coming. It wasn't that bad now that I'm older and I look back at it, but
it
I
wasn't
didn't
nice.
last long.
Yeah.
I didn't last long. I moved the moment I could. Because the toxicity was coming from one individual who at the time peppered every inhale with a 4-letter word.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it was psychologically abusive to a large extent. Yeah. Because it was, a lot of scolding,
I was
a lot of yelling.
I can understand that because I was once in an environment that was very toxic as well. And I didn't last long there. It was no joy going to work.
Yes.
And I remember I felt sick quite often. It was my body telling me to punch out, to take a break.
So it was emotional and psychological abuse that resulted in a physiological reaction.
Yeah. And the worst thing about being in a toxic environment sometimes is that it takes away your self-confidence and your belief in yourself that, that because when you're in a toxic environment, you can't perform to the best of where you usually perform.
Yep.
And then you fail and then suddenly you start doubting yourself. So we have a lot of clients coming in who feel that way, and we have to provide some counseling to get them back on track.
I feel like, I think in my experience, I was fortunate that I was young and blissfully ignorant to a large extent, even though I could sense it. But because I was a young executive, I was not part of the battles.
Oh.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was below your pay. You were below the pay grade.
I was beneath, not worthy of their attention.
Which is good.
And but I had a senior, and I really loved that she was supportive. So it was nice to have that little oasis.
Which should bring up an interesting point. If you're below that pay grade, you might not be so badly affected.
Yes.
But if you are being paid at the VP level, it's par for the course.
It is, because you're right there, visible target.
Yes.
Everything you do, everything you say is scrutinized and utilized against you.
Yes, and that's why
that can be very, very tough.
And that's why it's important to manage your office situation, your work situation. That's why, what do you do when your workplace really sucks? And my question is this: what constitutes a workplace?
Yeah, and if let's say the toxic element is not in the same office, it's actually not too bad. Because when the cat's away, then the mice have some control. Then when the cat comes, everyone is going to be on their best behavior.
That's a trigger. What's a trigger, right?
And to what extent? Because the larger organization, I think a lot of that vitriol and the poison might be a bit more diffused.
Mm.
But in a small, very high pressure environment with 7 or 10 individuals, it can get quite, toxic because it's right there.
It's like a gladiator pit.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble.
There's
all for
no
all.
room except the toilet.
That's why some people run for the toilet. Okay, I think there are 3 areas when it comes to workplace environment. In fact, if that's what we use to measure your workplace satisfaction.
Yes.
In Coach Carol. Coach
Yes.
Carol.ai is our career health assessment tool we designed for you to take a health check on your career, where it measures 18 career health indicators and gives you a very comprehensive career report on your blind spots and your areas for growth. So have a go at I keep getting
So,
so have a go at CoachCarol.ai and you'll be able to get the report very quickly. Now, the 3 areas we are talking about when it comes to
workplace environment.
it's your bosses. Okay, the first is the bosses.
Really?
Yeah. Primarily, people, the old saying, you don't quit your job, you quit the boss.
True.
And the second area we're looking at is your colleagues, because you can have a good boss, but if all you need is just one toxic colleague
Yes.
to spoil the whole thing,
Yeah.
right?
The person that steals your lunches every day type.
Or drinks your yogurt in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's me. Sorry. And the third one is the culture of the place.
And I was thinking that culture stems from leadership, which then
Yes.
rolls back to number 1, the boss.
But sometimes the culture is not from your direct boss, but the boss's boss.
Yeah. All
right?
the way from
all the way
from
from
the
the CEO.
source.
Yeah.
From the source.
And I
Yeah.
think that affects. So there are 3 areas we want to talk about today: the boss, the colleague, and the culture. So the boss. Some
Let's go.
bosses are just a-holes.
Yes, and sometimes you wonder why. Because I don't think they came to being by being difficult.
And I just
I'm
cannot
sometimes
understand why. they're
so
like that.
I'm just thinking out loud and reflecting and empathizing with why they have become that way.
And therein lies
And
the big
so
question. okay.
Villains in their mind are not villains, they're heroes. But everyone views them as a villain, but they
Right.
might have a higher reason for doing the things they do. I'm trying to
I know
very
you're trying to
I'm
be
trying
philosophical about
I'm
it.
trying to support.
Okay, my question is this, okay? And I think it's the eternal question which everyone's asking. Do people become bosses, CEOs, and the pressure turns them into a-holes? Or do the a-holes get to the top because they're a-holes,
Yes.
and therefore all bosses are a-holes?
I think that equation requires more context, but you're not wrong. And
You must be really
I think
Machiavellian,
all our listeners probably agree.
psychopathic to be a CEO,
And they're probably wondering, why does my boss need me to warm my seat instead of allowing me to work from home if I have proven myself?
Mhm.
Why are they insisting that we turn up at the office? Or why are they insisting that I write the report a certain way? Why are they double checking everything I email out? Why are they insisting on calling me or sending messages at 3 a.m. on WhatsApp and expecting the report done in 20 minutes?
You've just described the micromanager boss.
Yes, among other things. But then the reason for that most of the time is that they are insecure, they're vulnerable, and they want they want the team to jump when they call, so that they can have access to the information they need now.
So sometimes if you're lucky, you get a good boss. I've had many good bosses previously, and I enjoyed working with them. Mostly they're males. But anyway.
OMG, all my leaders have been decent.
Yeah.
And again, when being a little bit more philosophical, nobody's perfect. And we all have our good days and we all have our bad days.
On the balance.
Right? Overall, my bosses have been good.
Nice.
Except for that one that I mentioned earlier. Overall, not bad. I mean, again, nobody's perfect. So when I looked at my leader I've had leaders who were really good at managing the team at this level. But when that leader got promoted, that person completely I guess they reached a stage where they couldn't perform anymore, and then it didn't work out for them. So there are certain behaviors that were good at a certain level as well. And again, everyone's human, so we should empathize, we should understand, we should
But
communicate.
some are not human. Some people are not.
Robotic.
They're
Or,
robotic.
You know, I've heard a lot of stories about. I was headhunting, as you know, and one of my clients was my candidate was telling me about a leader that he reported to that he could not handle anymore because that leader does not need to sleep. So the leader would leave the office at midnight and is in the office at
But does he
5
expect?
a.m.
Does he expect? I was supposed to say she, but I caught myself.
It's a he.
Does he expect? Does he expect them to stick around?
I think this person's just built differently because there are those that can get by with 4
Yeah,
hours of sleep.
The Elon Musk, Thomas Edison types who just take 3 hours of sleep a day.
You know, I think
Crazy. They're
reporting
built
to
that way, yeah.
reporting to people like that can be very, very tough.
My
Even if they don't
goodness.
intentionally
Yeah.
tell the people that they have to work the same pace.
Yeah.
But somehow that's an undercurrent, that's an expectation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That
Nightmare boss.
I cannot leave until my boss is left, and I cannot come in late because my boss is already there. And the moment I turn up, there's no respite because I can't go make my coffee because the boss is going, oh, you're here, great. Blah, 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 blah. Let's do this and let's speed up.
Yeah.
So he was very stressed out and he needed to quit. So I helped him land another job.
Nice. And I think the other thing about it is your colleagues. Sometimes you have very nice colleagues, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, and you wonder why
And are
again.
you-
Like, what's the agenda here?
Are you in control? You see, so
No, you're not.
yeah, you can't. There's something you really can't control.
No, you're not. You're not.
And then you have to ask yourself: do I want to be the nice guy? Do I want to be everybody's friend, or do I play in the same game that they do?
So if you're a Survivor fan like me, and lately I've been following Traitors, which is a brilliant show.
Okay.
Traitors, it's quite fun, you know.
is
They've
it
got
good?
to go to this very isolated castle in Scotland, play games with each other, and then there's the murderers because they're the traitors, and then they
Okay.
vote everyone off, and
It's
if
like
at the end of the game,
your Town of Salem.
I don't know what that is, but at the end of the game, if there's a traitor in the midst, then the traitor wins all the money. It's very very Among Us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If you're familiar with Among Us, it's a similar thing. So the thing about colleagues is this: sometimes they lull you into a sense of collegiality. Like,
Wow.
oh, so you're okay.
Dangerous.
No, let me tell you the history, and let me almost become a mentor to you. And then you open up all your secrets and your vulnerability, and you say, "Yeah, I'm actually quite scared of this person," and then you reveal something, and then the next day they take it and they use it against you because they've reported you
Yeah.
to the boss.
I've seen that
So
happen
that's
before.
just
I've seen that happen before.
I don't-
I've seen a situation.
I
Okay.
don't understand why people would do that.
I've seen a situation in a pantry. 4 people talking, gossiping about one of the bosses.
Yes.
Okay. And then this other person walks in, gets a coffee, and then one of them cracks a stupid joke about that boss. Everyone laughs, and she also laughs. And then suddenly, next day, the person gets called into that boss's house. Why you don't like me?
Oh, no.
Yeah, because it was just like a trap. Actually, no, I was just getting my coffee. They made a stupid joke. They laughed. I just laughed along with
I
it.
think this person just walked into this Venus flytrap and just stepped on some sticky substance.
Yeah, it's like just got sucked in. It's like
Oh,
terrible. So sometimes the office politics get a bit toxic, and it's just terrible. And sometimes it's endemic in the culture of the organization. And oftentimes, one of the big red flags you can tell when there is either a toxic boss or toxic colleague or toxic environment is high turnover.
yes, that's very telling. You can ask that question, but you know during the interview you cannot ask the interviewer. So, what's the turnover like? You know, you can't. But you've got to do your own research, and by that I mean speak to the recruiters, speak to people outside of the organization, and ask them a little bit more about, you know, what do you think of the culture? And then if they give you a little bit, you go like, so in this team, has there been like, how long has this person worked there? Oh, 6 months. How about that individual? Oh, that person's new too, about 8 months in. And this other team member? Oh yeah, that person's been here about a year. Then you know if the entire team is new, something's not right.
There's also
Maybe they wanted new blood. What do you think?
There's also, I don't think so. New blood to suck. But there's also another way you can do, if you want to do your homework. It's called LinkedIn. Okay, sometimes you go on LinkedIn and you can see that this department, people have very short tenures there.
Or you can go to Glassdoor and look for all the unhappy people who report.
Oh yeah, that's possible as well. But we got our opinions about Glassdoor. But sometimes it's, but you can just ask. Sometimes
You
just
can ask.
At the interview itself. You can ask, especially
I
if you're
don't know.
going in.
Depends on how you ask.
Pro tip: if you want to find out whether or not the role is realistic or whether or not the office environment is healthy or not, what you can do is you can ask the interviewer, is this a newly created role or am I replacing someone? And if they say you're replacing someone, you can actually ask how long was the previous person there?
Yeah, and you
And
can
why did
ask
they
why
leave?
why they left.
And if it's like 3 months, it's like, okay, what happened? Oh, excuse. How about the previous person? Oh, she was there for about 9 months. And the role was vacant for 8 months before that.
It sounds like a very badly specified role in job scope.
Yeah.
Like they haven't
So
planned it well.
it's a red flag which
is a red
you
flag.
need to figure out, because the best way to handle office politics and bad office environments is to avoid it.
Yeah, but I'm also going to be very realistic and say you can never avoid it entirely. It's just a matter of intensity sometimes, and it's a matter of
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
It's a matter of visibility, and it's about you being strategic. Let's talk about red flags. A big red flag that I want to share is when as part of your interview process, you would meet multiple individuals. So the more interviews you have, it's actually a good thing, because you get a chance to meet with a hiring manager, another manager, a bunch of peers, maybe 2 to 3 of them that you might be working closely with, the HR individual, maybe the general manager, and a whole bunch of other leaders as well. So the more interviews you have, it's actually a good thing, because it gives you a sense of the dynamics and you can hear what they say and what they don't say. And if anyone more than once tells you these words, oh, I think the role is very challenging, you'll like it here. Or it's very challenging for some reason. And we love it here because it's challenging. And I'm like, And then you want to quickly pick on that and maybe probe a little bit more. What do you mean by challenging? Is it bona fide challenge or is it something else? And then the other red flag is, if someone in the interview panel says, we do not like politics. We're all adults here. We behave a certain way, we expect a certain thing, we do not like politics, and then that's repeated more than once, it's also a red flag, because it's top of mind, isn't it? It's like if I tell you, I don't like politics, it just means that I'm thinking about politics all the time.
Yeah.
Which means I'm the biggest player here.
Correct. She's a big bully in the playground. And I also had this other client once. He went for an interview and 3 different people asked him the same question. How do you handle a difficult boss? He was like, oh goodness. HR asked him, the colleague asked him, and it was like, okay, that's a big sign. Why are you asking me the same question? It's
over
like,
and over again.
It's like, can you imagine you go for a job interview and they tell you, how do you handle criminal activity going on in the office? It's like, no, I don't. But so
not in those words, but
those
it's
are
alluded.
red flags. Okay, so.
A big one. They invite you to interview on Sunday at 3 in the afternoon, and when you turn up, the office is buzzing. Everyone's on board and working on Sunday at 3.
And then the boss
for a
tells
job
you,
that does not require you to be on.
And the boss tells you, we value work-life balance here. Yeah, right. In fact, we conduct all our work-life balance trainings on Saturday evenings. So it's like, no.
We believe in diversity and inclusion.
So what? Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that. Okay. Goodness. We should have one episode on
red flags.
DEI. Why DEI should DIE? Anyway, it's gone already.
I really want to do
everyone's walking back the DEI.
I want to do an episode on red flags. It's just fun talking about red flags. And
Let's do that.
maybe we can get people to tell us their red flag stories, and then
that's a great idea.
We can do a story type thing on
if you
red
like
flags.
that, just if you have any horror story, just email us info@careeragility.org. What can you then do if you are in a toxic work environment or in a negative office space?
In a word,
what are some strategies?
In a word, come talk to us.
Okay.
Come talk to us.
Shameless pitch. Yes, come talk to us.
Everyone's different. Context is different. Environment's different. You're different. If you are female, 29, in a toxic environment where things are a lot more boys' club, it's a different strategy again than if you were a mid-career professional, 45 years old, entering an accelerated role in a team that you're unfamiliar with. So again, we can sit here and just give you superficial advice. Wisdom you probably already have. But okay, coming back to the question. So what are the 5 things we can do, Adrian?
I think you can... Okay, if there are a lot of politics,
yes.
okay, I think you can decide whether you want to play or don't play.
Cannot. You
Okay.
cannot don't play. You need to manage.
And okay, manage is manage.
Yes.
But to actively engage.
I think if someone shoots you, we should actively shoot back.
Ah, she scares me. She scares me. Okay. But isn't it an escalation of commitment? I mean, it's like, then what, you're going to start a full-fledged war?
No, I think you need to defend, and sometimes the best defense is offense.
She's carrying me.
I'm just saying, again, depending. So email warfare, for instance, is unproductive. So don't engage in email warfare because that's when, you know, there's somebody who shoots an email out and then you shoot it back by copying somebody's bosses. And then the language gets harsher and harsher and it gets very bad. No, that's unproductive.
I've been involved in one of those. Yeah, you're right.
I've seen those.
It does not end well for anybody.
I accidentally stepped on a minefield on that one. Yeah. I was young and stupid and I didn't know any better. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Now
you know,
it's-
experience does
experience
help us.
helps,
But so if you're listening to us, well, don't engage in email warfare.
Yeah.
But the choice of not to engage sometimes can be detrimental
Mm.
because people then realize that you're bullyable.
That's true.
It
And
is-
if you don't push
yeah.
back, you know, it's just like
So
the playground.
sometimes you need to punch back and
Yeah.
get caught up in it, and you deserve to do the time
Yeah.
because the bullies will never touch you again.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to take that punch. And you even if you don't punch
but
back,
we're not
you know,
encouraging violence, my friends.
So my
Please.
okay, so it's something my mom taught me when I was young. She said, no, if you're being bullied, fight back. Because the moment the bully senses fear,
Yes.
they're gonna bully you even more.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if the bully whacks you. Okay, if you push back and you get whacked, it doesn't matter whether you choose to whack back or don't whack
But
back.
the fact that
the
you
fact
are
you
a
stood up to
difficult,
them,
you're a
it's-
difficult
correct.
victim
Yeah.
means you're not worth their time.
Yes.
Yeah. All the
So
risk.
so I never kind of got bullied in school. 'Cause I was kind of the bully.
But
but
you
I
were
was
you
like,
were also probably very large for your age.
I was a skinny, scrawny kid.
I can't imagine.
Do you know when I was 12, I was only 25 kilos. I was a skinny
Alright.
little kid.
Okay.
I only grew fat in uni. Anyway, I think you need to build your strategies around handling your coping mechanisms. How about allies and friends?
I feel like that comes under this job, this skill title, not job. It's a skill called managing stakeholders. And stakeholder management can be upwards, sideways, downwards, and beyond. It is 2 to 3 degrees separated from you. It's about being aware of who would be an ally. Notice I'm trying to stay away from the word friend.
Ally.
What's an ally?
And alliances are
and
temporary.
alliances are only as good as the objective. And once the outcome has been met, you're no longer allies.
and that's true
Like
because-
Survivor.
So I've had this individual once. She said that her best friend at the office, her ally, when got promoted to
Yes.
become her boss, suddenly
That
became her
happened to
enemy.
me. That happened to me as well.
Yeah.
I was reporting to this wonderful person whom I thought was the most amazing person. When that person got promoted, something changed.
Yeah.
And there was a cold front.
Chasm.
So it wasn't a chasm, it was a cold front.
And it was, and in
Icicles.
her case, terrible, frozen. And and in her case, it actually became hostile because
Yeah.
the promoted boss, the newly promoted boss, looked at her as a threat.
And also because now that newly promoted individual has access to information that was shared
Yeah.
as a peer.
And suddenly she's seeing how come her salary was so much compared to mine previously. For all you know, right?
yes.
So things like that.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on, but it's choose your friends carefully. Choose your what's it? Keep
Keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
keep your enemies close. But okay, one of those.
Yeah. Keep your
Okay,
friends
so-
close, but
no.
keep your enemies closer.
No.
Yes.
Okay, one of those.
I don't know. One
I
of
have
those.
no idea. One of those.
One of
Okay,
those, one of
but just
those.
got to be very mindful about it and don't be naive.
Yes, naivety, and sometimes they're very gullible,
Yeah.
and they walk right into a trap, or they just step on a mine without knowing, and then
Yeah.
it blows up because they weren't aware of the undercurrents.
Yeah.
So we do help our clients to kind of see beyond
Mhm.
the obvious and to understand a little bit more about what agendas are and how to manage your stakeholders.
And Yen has a fantastic bag of strategies which you can use to the betterment, especially.
So I write a lot of fiction. I
No,
read a lot of
especially
fiction.
she's seen a lot of stories happen, and she's coached a lot. So when it comes to office politics and stuff like that, she's actually the better person at it, not me. So if you have any career advice, if you have any career situation you're in now, come talk to us. We're also running a career mastery program which helps you to further your career in the organization you're in right now, how to be better at what you do and how to manage your stakeholders. This stakeholder management piece is a skill which you need to learn as you progress up the ladder, because you're going to get a lot more stuff thrown your way
Stuff.
the higher you get. Right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
And
that's what we call the
Stuff is another word for the green stuff and the black stuff and the brown stuff.
Why is it even green?
I
Goodness.
don't know, the brown stuff that hits the fan.
Yeah, no, but why green? Anyway.
Slime and mold.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And I think very importantly, even among all this, when do you quit? I mean, sometimes it just gets so difficult. When do you quit?
I think when your mental shields are completely gone.
Shields are failing, Captain. We're
really
down to
need to-
2%.
And it's so easy for the wisdom in the internet to say, yeah, just have boundaries and stay away from the toxic people. Like, yeah, right. It's like you can't. Sometimes you can't. And if your health is at stake, drastic measures, please. You protect your health at all costs.
For me, I think first the physical health, the emotional health suffers,
Yes,
and then it will
become physical.
migrate and translate to physical.
Sleeplessness, insomnia.
Yeah,
Same
and
thing.
loss of weight, gain of weight,
Yeah,
stuff like that. So these are the signs you need to look out for if you're in an environment like that. Maybe it's time for you to step back or step up.
But don't rage quit. Don't rage quit. Plan your exit. Let us help you with that as well. If you need help, exit requires strategies as well.
Yes, because you don't want to burn your bridges,
No.
and you want to exit with options in hand.
And some people, right, even rage quitting, it's not necessarily ragey, but they would write like a farewell to all, except the people they don't like, and it's deafening in their absence in the statements. And I tell people, please don't write
That's
to
quite-
all, send to all type farewell notes. No, that's not done. So pro tip, don't send a farewell note that is to everyone.
Yeah, but I think you have to protect your mental health.
Definitely.
And no job is worth dying over or falling
Yes.
sick over.
Yeah, they don't
or-
care. They'll just
Yeah,
replace
they
you.
don't care. They're just going to replace you.
Yeah.
So always have that in mind. Your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health is most important. And don't fall into the trap where you're so plugged into it, and your commitment. There's so much escalation of commitment that
Yes, I've seen that happen. And sometimes I feel sorry that the company lost such a good person who felt that investment and ownership. These are the best employees to have. And if the leaders don't appreciate these people, that's their loss.
Great.
But the truth is, leaders don't appreciate them for some other reason. But that this person feels so invested, like, they grew up in this company to the point that they feel like they can't quit because this is practically their child or something. And I'm like, no, you've got to learn how to cut the apron strings.
In the great words of a very wise man who once said, you know what, to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run.
It's a poker.
It's Kenny
It's a
Rogers.
poker analogy
It's
from
a
that
Kenny
poker
Rogers.
song.
Kenny Rogers, the gambler. Okay, so a lot of times you need to
You're
know.
aging yourself, by the
Yeah,
way.
it's classic. You need to know really when to hold, when to fold, give up, when to walk away, and sometimes run. So
Yes.
on that note, we want to share with you that even if you're having a tough spot, okay, it's not the end.
It's not.
Remember, your career is an infinite game. You can always punch out, play another game in
Yes.
another company.
Yeah.
Come talk to us. And what's most important, we always feel, is if you have someone to talk to, someone who's free from prejudice, someone who's going to listen to you and not judge.
Yes.
Because we've seen that, we've seen so many cases, we can probably give you and predict what's going to happen.
And we can give you some perspective. And I think a lot of your assurance will come from the fact that you're not the only one that's going through this. And sometimes you feel like when you're in the middle of the hurricane that it's really stressful and very traumatizing. But if you reach out, you realize that it's actually, very common sometimes, and that there are ways and it's treatment that we can help you with.
Yes. So come talk to us. info@careeragility.org. Don't forget to try coachcarol.ai, and we are always very happy to answer your questions if you have any. Come talk to us, set up an appointment. We are happy to talk. In the meantime, have a great career ahead and keep calm and career on.
You mentioned come talk to us 3 times.
Yeah, I'm lonely. I want him to talk to us. Come talk to us.
We should put that in the outtakes.